So there are now several cities that are planning on using funds from crisis assistance packages to provide the residents with new monthly checks. Everybody, progressive lawmakers are also now blocking Biden's social spending bill from passing. House Democratic leaders, everybody, abandoned a third attempt today to clear the Senate passed bipartisan infrastructure bill. That's as progressives held firmly opposed without deeper assurances that a larger package of social benefits is a slam dunk.
This legislation, and I think it's important that the American people understand that, because this is the corruption of American politics. The pharmaceutical industry is currently spending hundreds of millions of dollars on lobbying, on campaign contributions, on advertising to oppose this bill, because they do not want to have us lower the outrageously high cost of prescription drugs in America. The health insurance industry is spending a huge amount of money because they do not want us to expand Medicare to cover dental, hearing aids, and eyeglasses. The fossil fuel industry, the coal companies and the oil companies, are spending millions of dollars despite the fact that the scientists are virtually unanimous in telling us that we must end our dependence on fossil fuel and move to energy efficiency and sustainable energy if we are going to save this planet. And it goes without saying that the billionaire class and the large corporations are spending a fortune in opposition to this bill because they love the idea that some of the wealthiest people in this country and the largest corporations in a given year do not pay a nickel in federal income tax. And they're fighting to preserve that absurdity. In other words, we are taking on some of the most powerful special interests in this country who will end up spending huge amounts of money in order to prevent us from doing what we should be doing, protecting the needs of working families, the elderly, the children, the sick, and the poor, and protecting this planet for future generations. Now, Senator Manchin, as I understand it, talked about today about not wanting to see our country become an entitlement society. Well, I am not exactly sure what he means by that. Does that mean that we end the $300 direct payments for working class parents, which have cut childhood poverty in this country as a result of the American Rescue Plan in half? Is protecting working families and cutting childhood poverty an entitlement? Does Senator Manchin think we should once again have one of the highest levels of childhood poverty of any major country on earth? At a time when millions of seniors in Vermont, in West Virginia, all across this country, have teeth in their mouths that are rotting, when they can't afford hearing aids in order to communicate with their grandchildren, and when they can't afford a pair of glasses in order to read a newspaper, does Senator Manchin really believe that seniors are not entitled to digest their food and that they're not entitled to hear and see properly? Is that really too much to ask in the richest country on earth, that elderly people have teeth in their mouth and can see and can hear? Does Senator Manchin not believe that we have to end the absurdity of the United States paying by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, sometimes 10 times more for a particular drug than is paid in Canada or other countries around the world? Does Senator Manchin believe that we should be the only major country on earth not to guarantee paid family and medical leave, and that working mothers should not be able to stay home with a child who is sick? Are workers not entitled to be able to do that? Does Senator Manchin believe that working class parents in West Virginia and Vermont should not have to pay? Does he believe that they should have to pay 25 or 30% of their incomes on child care? All over this country, working class families are paying 25 or 30% of their incomes on childcare so that they could go out and do their jobs. Are the children of this country?
The third punt in a month came after Biden made a visit to the Capitol to urge Democrats to help him advance his agenda. But still, this visit did little to convince liberals to vote immediately on the infrastructure bill. And the delay has sparked a new round of finger-pointing from lawmakers. Some of the frustration was also directed toward the Senate-centrist households like holdouts like Manchin and Sinema, who have resisted large parts of Biden's agenda and forced him to settle far below his initial request of $3.5 trillion in spending. Nancy Pelosi and her leadership team also wanted to expedite the timeline by clearing the bipartisan infrastructure bill on to give Biden a big legislative victory. So Chicago and Los Angeles will also launch universal basic income pilot programs with applications opening tomorrow. Los Angeles will pay $1,000 to $3,200 for each family every month, while Chicago will send out $500 to 5,000 families. The programs will cost $40 million and $31.5 million. Plus, weekless jobless claims fell in the last week, setting a new crisis-era low as the labor market slowly recovers. The latest jobless claims reflect the smallest number of new filings since March 2020. The steady move lower in first-time filers so far this year has coincided with a jump in demand for labor, the expiration of enhanced jobless benefits, and elevated levels of quits by employees. A record of 4.3 million people have walked off their job in August, based on the Labor Department's most recent data. Everybody, thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate it. And if you have any more questions about this, then leave them in the comments below. Until next time, everybody, have a great day and stay safe.
Zerlina, Nancy Pelosi trusts the President of the United States, but there are at least 30 or so Democrats in the House who did not trust his judgment about whether those two senators, Sinema and Manchin, would actually vote for this bill.
Well, I think the progressives, they want something to trust in. And I think trust is built over time. And I think it's hard to build up that trust when you have one of the senators, at least, not really telling anybody what they are for, just coming out and saying, nope, not that, nope, not that, nope, not that. OK, I'm going to go back to my home state of Arizona in the middle of the negotiations. And I think that is really frustrating, but it also puts them in a position where they say, look, tell us what you're for if you're going to agree with us and make sure that both of these things get across the finish line. Otherwise, we can walk away. I think that what the lesson of this moment, I think, for elected Democrats and the White House is that the Progressive Caucus has real power in this negotiation. And it's no longer